This is the Springfield History Museum Illumination Project. Michael K. Media hosting today, and I have the pleasure of sitting down and talking to Ronnie Vails, a true Springfield, Oregon legend. It's an honor. How you doing, sir?
Fine, thank you. Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
All right. So let's kick it off with, if you just don't mind telling me your Springfield, Oregon origin story. Like, what brought you to Springfield, Oregon?
I'm originally born and raised in Harlem, New York. I come from a family of 11. Did everything New Yorkers do. Meet tons of people, many nationalities. I've seen every kind of person in the world before I was 20, because that's New York. And I love the city. I felt it was time to move along because I got caught up in though I was a good athlete, I got caught up in the dope game. You know, everyone wants to take a break, but then, get caught up. And I had to get out of Dodge. I figured there's some things I need to do besides trying to get away from this, because it ain't going nowhere. New York was flooded with it because that was the goal. Don't repair the tenements. We'll renovate them later, and then they can't afford to move back in them. We'll take over Harlem. It was all a systematic deal. And I came out to California. I had a sister who moved out here. She was studying to be a medical nurse practitioner. So she welcomed me because she knew what I was trying to do. And I got out there in California for about 3 or 4 years, and then I did that. I was a hippie too. I thumb out, traveled around at the mercy of nice people. I eventually came past the state of Oregon. I was pretty much running around the United States. Started to head to Canada to end my trip and settle down, get a job, get a place to live. I passed through Oregon, and I said, damn, this is God's country. I like it. I didn't want to be near the big cities. I wanted real town and country, because Eugene is just a town. There's no city. Town, you walk 3 blocks, you're in the country. So this was ideal. I said, I'm coming back here to live, and that's what I did. I was married at the time. Me and my wife decided to settle down here. So this was in 1971. Lots changed since then, but what I enjoyed about it was a small city. I came here, it was 79,000, if that much. The city limits were no farther than Garfield Street. Believe that. Garfield was the city limits. So Eugene, to me, and Springfield were sister cities. They consist, I call this where I was living, consists of rednecks and hippies surrounded by cowboys. Because once you get outside the city limit, you had mostly people who had ranches, cattle, horses, whatever, farm animals. So that was on the outskirts of the city. So we had it all right here within a 25-mile radius. So, and some of the most beautiful country. We had mountain, we had vision, we had clean air. So it was ideal. And I said, boy, if I could make it in New York City, I definitely could do this. And I fell in love with it. I fell in love with it. I said, I didn't know exactly how long it was going to last, because when I got here, there's no black people. And one of the reasons why I decided to stop in Eugene, because they had the university. So I wasn't going to end up in no one-horse town and find myself up the creek where Philadelphia lawyer couldn't have helped me. I could have been in some small town where I wouldn't even seen a lawyer. I said, nah, I'm smarter than that. I said, I'm gonna come to Eugene because they got the university. So there I found a little collection. I found little herds of black people. And occasionally I see some sisters, try to throw a rope around them. But they be like, look at you. You a cowboy. You like those white girls, don't you? I like you too, honey. And they go, and I remember all of this, and I said, that's what I was all trying to get away from. So I just said, I'll stick with what's available. And then most of my intimate life has been with white women. And nothing against black women. That was my first choice. But that way we can come from the same area. But I made the best of what life is tomorrow's promised to no one, so I'm not waiting. And Eugene became my home. But now when it comes to Springfield, I figured, okay, rent was almost 75% cheaper for the same thing. And I figured, kind of make some sense out of it. I could get a duplex, 2-car parking garage for half the price, because it's set up for the university. These kids who come here get endless money. So I moved to Springfield. In Springfield, yes, most of my surroundings were rednecks, but they were respectable folks, and they identified with good people. And I felt I was good enough to call myself good people. And I got along just fine, you know. I lived out as far out as Thurston. Matter of fact, I was off 29th in Maine, but I was actually 29th in F. So once you got down Maine, you got 59th Street, 59th Street, you head north to F Street, and there was all orchards. They had just put this brand new duplex, so I was living in a brand new place, and they were just, you know, people buying the land, and there goes country. Let's build the parking lot, you know. So that was my deal with Springfield.
And what year was that you decided to make that move?
I'd say about 1974, 73, 74. I decided to, you know, do Springfield. And I was frankly, you know, as things changed and for professional reasons, I kind of went back and forth. I even left the neighborhood, you know, as far as the Bay Area for work that I knew how to do and knew was waiting for me. But I consider this home. So in between shopping and doing what I had to do, sometimes you just say, I need to go home. I always came back to Eugene. And most of the people I met, you know, I was rather confusing because a lot of white folks, professional and non, especially men, I guess, you know, they see a black face, I suppose to necessarily be bopping. What am I doing with a big bubble? Am I a drugstore cowboy? And you know, you meet them and you can see a whole bunch of things going through their mind. So as I saw fit, I would, you know, drop a dime on various times to say, yeah, this is where I'm coming from, and da-da-da. They go, all right, you know, do you know so-and-so? Yes, I know so. Wow, you know so-and-so? Yeah. Do you know so-and-so? Yeah, he owns so-and-so stock. He got some mean bulls out there. He said, yeah, they got loose one time. And then we start to identify. And they said, where you from? I said, from New York. What are you doing here? I said, well, I was waiting for you to come see me. You never arrived. I said, I'm going to come out and hunt you down. And, you know, in a complimentary manner. And so that's I came here, because when people say, I can see why you're here, no, you can't see why I'm here. Have you ever been to New York? All you see is what's on TV. So New York's a wonderful place. It's got everything, from rats as big as dogs to diamonds as big as dogs. You got it all. It's all a matter of what you can afford.
Because you were telling me a little earlier before the interview that I mean, you were doing cowboy stuff even back when you were in New York, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I got out here after my cycling commitment. I just realized being in a foreign country and doing a sport that's not well published, it would have been hard to trans unless I had a professional backing. And back then, very few Americans was racing over in Europe. So I figured by the time I mess around with this, I'll be old and broke and not even able to compete. So I decided I've always liked living life on the edge. If it had adrenaline, I'm an adrenaline junkie. So I saw bull riding, I said, I got to do that. Look at that. That's a roller coaster with its own brain. It could be on this side of the street tomorrow and have an attitude the next day. this is what I want to do. So I got involved in it, and I actually went to school because at my age, again, I started it late. Most people put on bulls at an early age because their father wanted to want them to ride through their father. You know how some fathers build their kids to do their thing and not let them do their thing. So, no, I didn't put snooze in my mouth, and I didn't get picked up by the nap and stuffed on a bull and get knocked around. I figured I'm going to avoid the school of hard knocks and let a champion who knows what he's doing teach me how to ride these things. And in the end, if he said, you got it, or you better do something else for a living. I realized during my time at school, I had the talent. I was riding some really rough stuff. And I says, I can do this. Now I can do it for a living. And my teacher, who was a 74 world champion, Gary LeFew, he was down in Santa Maria, California, said, you got it, you got it. So, and down the road, I've actually competed against him a few times. Met some of the people who put Oregon on the map, Westerners like cowboys like Larry Mahan, five-town all-around cowboy right out of Brooks, Oregon, little spot there just north of Salem on I-5. He was from that town. I read all about him, and then he joined the school where I was at. That's where I met him. And down the road somewhere, I was competing against him and actually traveling with him. So I had a lot of honors, even though I didn't get rich. I drove the car of my choice and lived where I wanted to. And I mostly paid my taxes.
Did you ever get to win against your teacher or any of these guys you looked up to?
Yes. I outscored them a few times, yes. They may have gotten 7th place, and I got 4th, 5th. I wasn't taking too many firsts because, the judges back then, and they had to get rid of all that because the fact is, it's too much money in the game now. We got ABC, CBS, we got primetime TV with this cowboy stuff. You don't want to end up, say, on a news show saying, look at this ride and look at that ride. Which is the better ride? That ride. Well, why didn't he win anything? So they had to get rid of all the old judges because they were gripping people who lived in the town. These wannabe, once was, really wasn't nothing, and gave him a pencil and pad. And he's gonna see what he wanna see. He ain't gonna look at the ride. He's gonna say, oh, that's my friend. That's so-and-so's son. I'll make sure he gets some money. Who's this nigga? I let him place. He should have won, but I can't do that. People gonna be like, nigga love, da. So I had to deal with that for at least a year and a half till I started making a name for myself. Till they start getting real judges. They make them go to school like empires go to school for baseball. You call the shots like you see them. You don't want to be lying and being obvious because we'll get our sponsorship dropped and all that stuff. So it's changed a lot. I only wish I had that much jam back then. I would have been quite wealthy. But I did what I had to do, and I knew what I was in for. If I scored when I should have won, I accept my place, because then they see me next year, they might say we owe him. So I stayed to the part where they felt they owed me. And a few times I saw it work for me. They said, oh, he jacked me last time. They gave me a place where I felt I wasn't going to get that high score, but they said, payback, you were a real cowboy. It wasn't just a thing. And often I had chandeliers in my ears. The cowboys just say, what's this? What's this? And they said, what are you? I said, I'm a bull rider. Well, what's this? I says, jewelry. Do I love you that way? Nah, I don't think so. I wear jewelry because I want to. That's a man. Okay, so that's what it is. Why, you want yours done? I know a place you can go. So basically I got flacked about that, but good professional announcers dealt with that. We had some people, they often tell jokes in the rodeo between rides. to make the crowd laugh. And sometimes I was the butt of some of these jokes, like Kool-Aid jokes and so forth, where the announcer wouldn't even ask him again. They just move on to the next one, throw it aside. And he often introduced me, he said, ladies and gentlemen, here's a cowboy. He's from New York City. He's a little differently attired, but he's a crew cowboy. He has earrings that you can't miss. He claims it helps him keep balance. And it adds a little flair to his writing. But here he is, a shoot number so-and-so from New York City. He's wrote everything from trains, cabs. Now he's on bull number so-and-so. Let's give him a big hand. And boom, boom, boom. If I ride my bull, if I don't ride my bull, get a nice applause. Sometimes you get a mouthful of dirt. That's what you get. You know, but your entry fee got to be paid. And we didn't have the sponsor. We paid our own way. We paid for our own gas. And it was a lot of time on the road. But being a bull rider, I carried the least amount of equipment. All I needed was I didn't even need cowboy boots. I needed some spurs. They fit better on cowboy boots. And after all, you gotta be in uniform. You know, they want you to look like a proud cowboy. So that was easy to get, so-called outfit, a good bull rope. Back then, you could get a good bull rope, a professional bull rope for 40 bucks. And some good spurs for under $100. And if you can afford chaps, cool. If you can't, you still can get on. And if you can ride, you can ride. They can see if you could ride. Eventually down the road, you can get all that extra equipment as you see fit. But basically, it was the cheapest way to get into the cowboy game. Because if you a roper, well, you got the expense of a horse, a trailer, a truck, and food for the horse, gas to travel with them. You got to win money, whereas the expense of it, I would survive. You know, so most of your ropers have probably got something else in the bag, or they come from money. But most of your bull riders who basically didn't have much, but they could afford bull riding equipment, and then end up being down the road being able to afford anything they want. So that's me as a cowboy in the Northwest, out of New York City. Yeah.
So with that, after hearing your origin story, looking back, what are some of your most impactful memories of being in Springfield, Oregon?
Well, they weren't always good. I wouldn't live in Springfield now because you got the driving while black thing. That's a certainty. Shame. But at one time, when I saw officers, they looked at me strange, but they had no real reason to be down on me. They just figured maybe they wanted to see what one looked like up close. So if that's driving while black, cool. But they didn't search my car. They didn't probably even ask for more than my driver's license. They were just curious. And at times you can get in a conversation with them and they say, hey, I'll just write you out a warning this time. You know, watch it. And it was a friendly thing. It was a thing, okay, I messed up, officer, da-da-da. Now, I'm afraid that may be the last encounter of my life, especially if I demand respect. That's getting hostile, and it's dangerous. But what I did find out, a lot of the officers from Springfield, like in Eugene, these folks had fathers in the game that were officers. They became officers. I knew their father and things like that. But I found now a lot of your officers from Springfield are coming in from south of the Mason-Dixon. Believe me, I checked with some of the ads and stuff. Good future, New York police, Eugene, Springfield police, you know, and they advertising a lot from that area where you can do what you want with people of color. Come on up here. There's a few around, and we need to keep them. They're getting too thick. We need to keep them down. And so there used to be more black people in Eugene, Springfield. They were quite more, but a lot of them grew up and said, I'm out of here, I ain't gonna raise my kids to this. I've been through too much. And I don't even go to, you would never catch me in Eugene unless I'm warranted. Like in your case, I can't. And my wife was off, I would have her drive me. Because I didn't want to be late because I've been through some stuff. So it's sad.
I feel like there's sort of this perspective that in Springfield, especially in terms of like race relations specifically, there's kind of this, oh yeah, it started off bad back in the days you couldn't even live here, and then it's just kind of gone up and now we're here. It sounds like that's not really your experience, like it's had ups and downs.
Yes.
And that we may not be at the peak of everything being at its best.
No, I think in my experiences, I saw it getting better. I saw a lot of curiosity, and to a point where you were familiar, they knew who you were. But now you could be carrying a box of laundry and they say, hey, what are you doing? I'm going to the laundromat. Well, someone looked just like you. Someone said they got a TV stolen. Can I see? This would happen usually at night when I can't contest in front of an old lady and get some witnesses. So I had to be very careful. And in the earlier days, I could speak my mind and have an argument. But like, no, I didn't think I was. I think you just was having a donut and you couldn't see straight. To speak my mind. It might not have changed the outcome, but I wouldn't have gotten jacked. Now, I saw the buildup of a lot of people moving to Springfield, blacks because of the rent, and other people too because of the rent. If you didn't have to go to school, you could work anywhere, but have better living in Springfield. A lot more real estate per dollar anyway, apartments, whatever. Housing was way cheaper. But as far as the blacks goes, the welcoming, a lot of these old policemen that I kind of cut my teeth through, they retired, they're gone. And their kids wanted to get out. They didn't want to become a policeman. If they did, they might want to go to another city. But all the policemen that are here in Springfield are not from Springfield. They're not even close to Springfield. They didn't even come out of a small town like Springfield. They come out of a town where they had their way. And they felt, they questioned black people because they wondered what they doing here, period. Well, I'm sure the natives said the same thing to them. And they cry about this is their country. But remember, someone was here before them and helped them survive. Then they took everything. Trail of Tears, Wounded Knee, all that stuff. And you got these here extremists going, this is my country, showing the flag, don't tread on mine. You treaded on a lot of people that didn't look like you. And now you saying don't tread on da-da-da. Anyway, I wouldn't recommend anyone to come, any blacks to move into Springfield. And there's not much of a black person now, population in Eugene. But like I said, you have the university, so you're gonna get some. And you're gonna get people that's seen one in real life before. Before in Springfield, that wasn't the case, but I wasn't getting jacked. Now they headhunt. And they look at us. I can see in their eyes and everything about them, even the way they wear it. A lot of these cops had crew cuts. Now these cops got bald heads. If you didn't see them from out, you'd think they were skinhead. Seriously. And I'll be the first to defend this neighborhood because I've lived here for 50 years. But I don't go into Springfield as much as I like to. I go around Springfield till it lets me off at 56 and then head east to Bend, wherever I gotta go. I don't go down Main Street. Don't need it. And it's sad, but it is what it is. And it frightens me. And whenever I got business in this part of town, the wife said, I'll drive, because she knows what I go through. And it's what it is. But,
all right, so it sounds like one of the biggest things that needs to happen for Springfield, Oregon to better accommodate black folk will be police reform. Do you have any other ideas around what would need to happen in Springfield to be more a place that black folks might have more confidence in calling home?
yes, whenever there's black people involved in activity and let's say they bring something to the table, recognize them, get them on the TV, talk about them, talking about how appreciate you are of him, not just for the moment, but how people like that you would love if he was a next door neighbor, because he's not only good at what he does and he's got all these acclimates at school, he's good people. You know, when you find this, there are a lot of them doing some great stuff, but give them, especially in Springfield, give them some kudos. Please, you know, just let them be recognized and make it clear that Springfield ain't got that kind of money to be paying out lawsuits. You know, whether you snuff somebody or not, you're gonna be paying out some big money, and you're trying to improve that little one-horse town. So let's not get yourself, because you don't got to pay for it, the city's gonna pay for it. And you need to go to jail. But see, a lot of them are not being held accountable for their behavior, even though the city's paying for it. These politicians or these councils of the city, mayors of the city, need to make clear that you are working for the people. There's no such thing as black, you know, there shouldn't be no driving around black issues. You know, it's like, it's unnecessary. You could be doing some other things. Yeah, they just need to give those who are in the city, who are part of Springfield activity, some kudos. They need to truly recognize them and make it clear to the neighborhood, you know, because Eugene don't seem to have any problems. You know, they talk about their boys and what they do for the team and so forth, but a lot of just make them feel more welcome in Springfield. You got some really gameful policemen that's making it real. It's not making Eugene look welcoming. You know, I don't recommend Springfield for that reason. It's not. And when it comes to policing, if you have to deal with the police, well, let's say I wouldn't be mistaken. I say it'd be the last time you interact with anything. And that's a terrible thing to say, but if it's true, you got to know. And if you know, what the hell are you doing in Springfield? And if that's what you want your city to be about, so be it. But yet still, you see what the blacks can do for their university. They functioning. A lot of these, let's say, people who are more simple and didn't get the education, they're envious of people who did. Yes, the logging business ain't what it used to be. You could have gone back to school. You own your house, which a lot of these people don't even have. You have property. So why are you tripping on them? If you're not that well educated, don't blame it on them. And if you don't listen to that kind of music, don't blame it on them. It's accept change, you know. Make your city a great city. It's in a great part of the United States. Don't throw that away. It's in a very great part of the United States. Like I said, I came through here, I called it God's country, so I came back and made it home. So And it wasn't because I was getting jacked around by public servants. So.
You mentioned, simple people, right? From a more simple time. In particular, you mentioned when like logging and things were thriving. Like even working here at Springfield High School, it's called the Millers, and most of us working or going to school in this building don't really relate with that because it's in a different time. Can you like take us back to that time of like what it was like in this area when there was Millers, when it was like a logging town?
Well, for instance, I remember I was living out in Marcola. It's just outside of town. I eventually get out of the city, found a little place somewhere just out of Dodge, and it was north of Springfield there. It's a town called Marcola. I was just this side of Marcola. I lived out on Parson Creek's Road. It was a popular road because they had a nudist colony up the street where people often stop in front of my home and say, "Do you know where?" I said, "The nudist colony." They go, "Yeah." I said, "Follow me, I'll take you to it." And it was, I enjoyed being that helpful. The people that I definitely see no black folk, but they would ask the black folk where to find it. And so this was back in the days when Springfield was so much adventure. And to go further, I had a motorcycle accident. I ended up in Springfield Hospital, which is called McKenzie-Willamette. They put me in this room, and there was another man in there at first. And lo and behold, he said, "Be just my luck if I get a black person." And lo and behold, he did. He got me, and we became the best of friends. Because I said the same things he said. I suffered from the same thing he suffered. We hear from misfortunes just like you. And I got to know him, and come to find out, he knew I was living out in Marcola, and I never went to Marcola bar. They had a nice bar I would love to frequent, but I didn't want no part of it. I was afraid because I had people drive by my place and yell out "nigger" and "nigger this," and when they drive back, I say "honky" as they went back, and they would turn around and I say, "Okay, come on in and have a beer." Next thing you know, they're my friends, because they just wanted to be confronted. They wanted to see what I would do. So I welcomed them. I called them out on this stuff. But certain places you can't take that chance. And like wanting to go to the neighborhood bar rather than going to town, I would have loved to go there. But I found out about this gentleman who I was in the hospital with. He was the bar fighting king of Marcola. That's all he was about, is bar fighting, and he kicked everyone's butt. So the plan was, when he got through with some work, we're gonna go out to Marcola and have some beers. Thing is, I was available early and so was his wife. So me and his wife walked in the bar. Everything went silent. Totally silent. They didn't know what to think. And here I am with the bar fighting king's wife. There's no bar fighting king on my shoulder saying, "Yeah, he's my friend." They just, what the hell's going on? And slowly, we got a seat, we started, we ordered, and everything started to buzz, but no one's really getting comfortable. They just don't understand what's going on here. And lo and behold, who comes through the door? The bar fight king. And people saw who walked through the door, and the first thing I did was say, "What took you so long, nigga?" It just came out like that. But he smiled, he laughed, he looked at me like, "I'm not one of those." And we just sat down and had a beer. And then the place started living again. It started, you hearing noise, you hearing the box and people, beer glasses, people drinking and talking. But we set it up that way. We figured we'd go ahead, and they weren't going to mess with me, because I had the king. And lo and behold, they didn't know I was hooked up with the king. I walked in with his wife, and we decided we put this one on him. And it was the greatest time we had. And when I would come to the bar in the future, Yeah, what you drink? Oh, yeah, I know what you like. That I was getting treated, I was getting served, and being treated like a normal man. I even won a few raffles. You get a ticket when you buy groceries at this one horse town store, and I finally won. You know, which I forgot what I won, but you know, I was being treated fair, and I love living out there in the sticks because I could hear the crickets, I could hear the frogs, I could hear myself breathe. It was quiet, and you look up at the stars, and you can see how many stars there were just walking outside your house. Something you don't get even in a small town, because the lights of the town would reflect against the sky, and it would just mask the stars. You couldn't see them really good. So yeah, that was one of my experiences with a real redneck at Springfield. I became a family member of theirs in time. And it was just how it started. Wouldn't he be lucky if a nigga moved in the next bed? It surely was. It was me, and we became quite friends. We were, you know, he was my ace boon coon, let's put it that way. So that was one of the experiences I had in living in Springfield, and I can say it was really an adventure, you know, because it don't have to be any other way, you know. The neighbors loved me where I was. I got stuck a few times going up for firewood, and they grabbed their tractors and come pull me out just for asking. And Springfield can be a sweet place to live in, but I didn't have to live in the city, and when I did, it was a safe place. I seen many cops come by my neighborhood. I'm out on my porch, or on my lawn, or whatever, and I get a friendly hello. Some lady who had horses used to come by the house and park her horse right in front of my duplex, and we'd be inside jiving and carrying on. And of course, police was gonna come by to see where's this horse, and realize it's in front of my house, and everything's good, you know. But those are only memories. Now, things have changed. The policemen are not the same as the ones I met back in the day. And I went for a job at warehouse. They were the only one that paid decent. The minimum wage was like $3. They paid $7. What a difference. So I went to warehouses like everyone else do on the day where they do the applications. So it's about 50 of us in this room. And the man comes saying, we're hiring and da-da-da. Don't get discouraged. You fill out these applications and we'll be looking at them. And that's all I got to say. We'll be looking at them. So everyone got up, and so did I. We're walking out the door. He said, sir, let me talk to you. I knew I was working the next day, because maybe I was the reason why he got a $15,000 tax break. Who knows? Whatever the reason is, I got the job. And he just said, you can work tonight if you want to. So that's the part I liked about being different. Some diversity. They wanted in their Springfield, their biggest paying company in the state of Oregon, wanted me to work. And I even had my pickings. One job I got, I felt it was like a little dangerous, because I decided to go out in the woods and be a choker. It was a lot of activity, stayed healthy, but these guys could drop a tree on a fly. And I was trying to get to know these guys, doing lunch and try to sit with them, but no one was talking to me, and I'm thinking, I could be that fly that the tree dropped on. Many people are killed in the woods, and it's a real accident because it's rough. The slingers break and just cut you in half. I went to the boss and said, I don't want to work out in the woods no more. I don't feel safe. He go, okay, has this job here. And I says, okay, I'll check it out. I was doing it, and I had to clean the machine, and often I put the red tag on the thing so you don't run the machine. But every time I'm under there cleaning, I would see these shoes right near where you start the machine. So I said, what is he doing there? He better not touch the machine. I'm a dead man. He's just standing there. So I'm looking at those shoes to remember. So eventually, come lunch, I remembered the shoes. And I remember him, the way he looked at me. I told the boss, every time I go clean the machines, those same shoes will come around with the button. You know, I might have forgot to put the button on. So he said, and one of my machines not operating and just started up. But this guy didn't talk to me in the lunchroom. I couldn't even befriend him. But this was the shoes hanging out in front of the machine. He understood. He said, we ain't gonna do that one. So I ended up getting something I didn't like, which I felt more safer. I felt more in charge. And I stayed with them as long as I wanted to work with them. And I was treated real good, great insurance, well paid, paid better than most because they was the highest paying job. And I was living out in Marcola, so it was perfect for me. I just came towards Springfield and I didn't have to go into town. I had this, it was right out of town in, you know, East Springfield, where the mill was. And so, yeah, that was a good experience. And that was nice being black because everyone else had to scram. I was the only black person there and I was working that evening.
Because I've, you know, especially in the process of this project and trying to find people to talk to, and you discover there's not that many people to talk to. And so one thing that I wonder, I'm like, why aren't there like more black folks out here or with more history? And it sounds like, in talking to you, that the reason that you were here, the reason that you found success here was because like you had wit, you would get tested, and they could have maybe ran you out, but because of your personality and your confidence, you stood your ground. And they were like, okay, you're okay with us.
Yes.
You did enough of the same things, like the, you know, horses and bull riding and stuff, that you found you were relatable with people.
Absolutely.
But it sounds like if that wasn't the case, that maybe the beauty you were attracted to wouldn't have been available to you.
Exactly. True. And there's a lot of brothers that were here during the time I was, and they did live in Springfield, but they didn't want to relate. They didn't want to try to identify. They didn't. Hey, brother, you black. You gotta have to like let them know you one of them. You can't be pretending you on the corner of 125th Street looking at people's salads. You know, they weren't holding their crotch back in them days, but still you had that. I mean, I got swag, I got my bop going on, but I know when to bop and not to bop. And I know when to yahoo and yahoo, you know, but I figured, hey, it worked good for me because I did what they did. It's because I wanted to do what they did. I asked them for help. I said, I want to be a bull rider. You know, this is what I do. So I want to be around bull riders. So I was around cowboys all the time. Most of these cowboys' mom, I called their mom. I called their mother's mom. They called me son. And if I needed them, they put me to work because a lot of them own things. You know, that's, you know, they own the concrete company, so I never worried about working. If I was bull riding, I worked for him and his sons, you know, and they had my back. You know, anyone give me some flack, I had the Duchamp family. They ain't messing with me. It was same like with the Bar Fight King. I can't remember his name, but I had the man, you know, and I just had to be fortunate because I took the shots that I had, the doors that were open, and worked it. And I told a lot of brothers, you know, it's a chance to do something else. You can play the Temptations and all that, but they got some good country music too. Maybe you were sitting there at the job listening to country music, tell my mind want to talk to you. And say, I didn't know you listened to country music. Well, what am I supposed to listen to? I thought you listened to that jive. Well, it ain't jive. It's singing, but it ain't your kind of singing. That's the relationship right there. There's something to open up. And I knew that if I could make it in New York City, I could make it any place else. I just had to use that wit and a little bit of stamina because you got to take some chances. But if you're not a fool, you won't take too many bad ones. And I saw what I had to work with. I didn't come off like all that. I was very humble. And then I realized I could start to own my own shit. And I found what they liked about me was because I owned my own shit. They did like me because I'm black. They did like me because I brought all the P-Funk. I brought George Clinton, these cowboys, that's all they want to hear. Make my funk the P-Funk. You see all these buckles and these cowboy boots are knocking, and they knew all the words. You know, this flashlight, they were down and all that. They say, hey, you bring your stuff? I said, yeah, put it in quick. They got the boombox going, and they all saying, make my funk the P-Funk. And all you saw was cowboy hats going up and down. And cowgirls, they hats going up and down. They jamming to the P-Funk, humping and carrying on. They loved it. And they said, you know, they wanted some. And I, you know, just like I wanted some of theirs. And I said, hey, let me bring something to the table here. How y'all like this? Yeah, they off into it. So, yeah, it works. Everyone got something to bring to the table. It's like salad, beans, pulled pork. You know, you can't have just one thing. It makes it all good when you jam it up together. It's you know, it's what we call it. When you think some, you know, I used to go to this restaurant and they say, what kind of soup you got? They used to say, nigger soup. I knew exactly what they were talking about. They got some of the little leftovers and whatever it was good because people bought it. You know, got them some chicken and a bowl of nigger soup. And I had my white friend, I said, they're gonna ask you if you want soup or salad. Tell them you want soup. And, you know, tell them what kind of soup. So they said, what can I get for you? She said, I want some chicken and what you have sides? I had soup, salad. What kind of soup you got? Nigger soup. She cracked up because she was white as white. She told, the waitress said, nigger soup. She said, I have a bowl of that. And so in time down the road, we would come in there. She says, yeah, I had some two-piece chicken, some nigger soup. You know, and they said, coming right up. This is on Divisadero in San Francisco. There was this chicken place it was called. Jesus, I'm getting old. Things are just going away. But you know, I had a bout with COVID. And I found a lot of stuff that I was good at memories, it gone. And maybe it's the long stuff, or maybe it's the stuff that forever, you know, because it does damage. You know, we got hit with the worst pandemic in the world because for what they had back in the plague, the Black Plague, they didn't have doctors. And they had to use immune. Whoever lives was strong. But here, we had all the things. We were being taken down because we had a lying president. One safe face. Oh, it's just the flu. And they told him this was dangerous. We got to yell. And he goes, don't worry about it. When he got sick, he couldn't even talk. He stood up on the balcony like he was Mussolini. And he couldn't even talk. He was going, You know, because he left the hospital early. The doctors lied. And so when the next person came, they fired that doctor right away and said, you lied in public. You said the president was good, and you knew he wasn't good. You just lied. And of course, he got the concoctions no one could afford to get. He had to be president to get. And he still left early and got up there and started saying, I'm fine. He looked it bad. I don't know if you saw it at times. Then he was trying to talk, and he was like, I wish he had dropped dead right then. We were doing this cleanup. Anyway, hey, I love the Northwest. You know, I've been to every little town because I'm a cowboy. There's rodeos there and I've gone there. But you know, and I get groupies too, but I gotta be cool. You know, because again, the best Philadelphian lawyer couldn't have saved me, so I can't mess. Now, when I got the groupies when I was at the Cow Palace, it's cool because I'm in the city and it's nothing new to be walking around with someone a different color. Matter of fact, I started dating Linda Blair. You know the Exorcist, the one who turned her head around? Mm-hmm. I'm the first Exorcist. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was my girlfriend. I met her at the Cow Palace and we started dating and so forth, yeah. And I think I turned her out because after that she got Rick James. That she ain't go back the other way. She went to Rick James.
When you were with her, did her head ever spin around?
No, I used to tell her. I said, spin that head for her, especially when we doing the monkey. You know, we mess around. I said, turn that head for me. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get faster. You know, spin that head. She goes, I'm about to get up here in a minute and leave. You know, and I introduced her to my sister when we went to my sister's house. I says, you know Linda Blair, you know, like she's supposed to know. I said, you know, the one that spins her head around. She hated that. She goes, oh, wow, oh yes, glad to meet you. You know, she realized she's the little girl that spun her head around. But she was a good gal, and she's just a professional actor, and like the cowboy, she was really a cowgirl.
All right, so, you know, really what we're trying to do with this project is, you know, capture history, tell history, make sure that the story is preserved. So on that note, I know we all think like, man, if I could be in history, this is what I'd leave them with. So is there like a final thought or a story or something that you feel like needs to be captured in history?
Yes. After being captured by the beauty of the state of Oregon, I never thought it would be like this. I had my doubts because it was way different than I was. But I figured this is what I really was looking for, the peace. I was even saying Oregon. I didn't say it like the right people said. And that was something special, saying it wrong. Willamette Street. I didn't say all that right. But eventually I got to say it right, and I became a real Oregonian. I knew I was coming around. And the people I met and the people that met me have accepted me, and I felt safer as I got more into what the beauty of this vicinity had to offer, like Fall Creek, like Dexter Lake, the hot springs up in Blue River. It was such a great state to live in, and I often proudly would brag about it when I was in New York or at family reunions. Let there be a place for people like me here in this neck of the woods. You have a love for it. Maybe you don't have it anymore, but some people come here for a reason. Let them have some of it. You know, they may be different than you. It's all right. You know, maybe the best thing that ever happened to you. And that's all I got to say. It's home for me now. And I'll probably have my ashes scattered around this neck of the woods when it's over. You know, not in New York, in Oregon.
All right, and once again, Springfield History Museum Illumination Project. We're shedding light on people with roots in this area, and you just got to hear from an amazing storyteller, a real cowboy, Michael K. Media, bringing it to you on this very fine occasion. It was an honor to speak with you, Ronnie Vails, and wish you well. And until next time.